Second thing is cues. Now you already know about cueing. This is an easy one to teach you. You already know about cueing because you cue every single record when you load it onto your decks. You go to the first beat and you press the cue button. But that is a temporary cue. That cue is generally forgotten by your DJ software when you next load the track up. It's just because you can move it around. You know you can move it around. You know that if a track's paused later on in the track and you press cue again, that temporary cue point will jump. But there's another kind of cue point that most DJ software and most DJ controllers allow you access to, and that is permanent cue points. And there's multiple permanent cue points per track. And the good thing about permanent cue points is that they're remembered, so that when you load that track again, the cue points that you set are still there. And of course the other good thing about them is there's more than one of them. So you can set cue points at various points in your track that are interesting to you. Let me show you why that's good. And we're going to use the same record. And what I'm going to do is turn the loop off to start with, and I'm going to set a cue point at, let's set one at the, where we would normally set a cue point, right at the very beginning. So let's jump to the beginning of the tune. And I'm going to set a cue point. And depending on your controller, this will be somewhere different, so it really doesn't matter what I'm doing on this controller. The point is I'm setting a cue point. On the software, you can see there's a flag or a line with a cue point set. That's got a number 1 by it. Slightly different on Virtual DJ and Itch, but they've all got the same functionality. The actual function is exactly the same. So there's your cue point set, and it's exactly the same as the temporary cue points, except instead of pressing the big cue button in front of you, there'll be other buttons that say cue 1, 2, 3 or cue 1, 2, 3, 4 or however many you happen to have, which will jump you to that cue point. And on this one, it's down here at the bottom. I had to press a shift key, so there it is. Okay, so you might be saying, well, what's the point of that? I can already do that. What have I gained from doing that? Well, what you've gained is the fact that you can now go on and do some other ones. So let's do another cue point right at the beginning of the break, the first break of the track. So I'm going to jump to the break and find that point first. Right, it's there. Okay, so I'm now up there, and I'm going to set my second cue point. So there's now a flag there telling me I've got a cue point there. So now I can start at that point of the track as well. Great, let's set another one. Let's set one at, if you remember on this track we had a stuttery bit. Probably don't, but I'm about to show you again. So at the end of where the break kicked in and it was all going mental again, there was a bit where it kind of broke down. Let's try and find that bit. That bit there. Let's set a cue point there. Cue number 3, and there's the flag for cue number 3. And for completion's sake, let's set a cue point at the end of a break where everything's kicked in and it's going mental. So let's find that. Let's find the end of the break that we listened to at the beginning of this this video, which is around here somewhere. There it is. Okay, I've now set 4 cue points on this song. Remember, these are going to be remembered. So when I load that song again, these cue points are still going to be there. In fact, I'll show you. Let's load the song onto another deck. Let's load the song onto the right-hand deck. See all the cue points have appeared? So it's remembered all those points, and it'll do that the next time you load your software. It'll do that in 6 months' time. So you're preparing your songs in a way that you can't do with the temporary cues. So okay, let's get back to the one we were playing, and let's see why this might be useful. So we're playing the song. We've started our song at the first cue point. There you go, that's the first cue point. Just started it playing like normal. And we're looking out on the dance floor, and yeah, it's going alright. But people look like they're ready for something to happen, and you know that there's a good minute and a half until that break kicks in, until the first big arms in the air bit. You know there's, like, you can see on your software, you can see here that there's a big gap before something interesting happens, frankly. But you want to jump to that interesting thing now. Well, because you've got cue points set, it's as easy as this. Now, You've just controlled your record. You just told your record, I don't want it to work the way it works. I want it to work the way I want it to work. You want to double the length of the break. No problem. It's about to kick in, but not for you. Because you press start again at that cue point, and you've doubled the length of the break. So you can see the power of this. So let's just take this on and use our other cue points. Song's about to kick in. Everyone's going mental. Everyone always goes mental at this point. You know that, it's one of your favourite records. But all of a sudden, the dance floor just seems to be a bit bored. It's losing it's not having it this time round. So instead of submitting them to the rest of this long bit, you can jump forward a bit in the track and you can go to that bit where it's a bit less involved and a bit less mental. You're counting in your head. Actually, that bit came in anyway, so no point jumping to that bit. But you see what I mean? You can jump around the record. So I could jump back to the break now. I could jump back to the beginning of the tune now. Or, if they still want to go mental, I can jump back to point 4, the mental bit. Now, because I know what I'm going to do next, I can be going, come on. And then all of a sudden, do what I know is going to happen. And so everyone's watching you, and you're saying, it's going to go mental, and guess what? It does go mental, because you controlled it. So you can see how cue points, if you put them at the right points in a song, and you learn where you've put them, can be really powerful, and they can let you chop a tune up completely. You can change tunes using cue points.